Betrayal is one of the most painful experiences anyone can endure. It tears at the fabric of trust, breaks the heart, and challenges a person's belief in loyalty. Yet, even in the face of heartbreak, there is a way to respond that preserves self-respect and dignity. This is the story of Claire Mitchell, a woman from Austin, Texas, who faced betrayal not once but multiple times, and chose the high road every single time. Her journey is not just about the pain of broken trust, but also about the power of walking away with grace. Claire Mitchell had always been known in her community as someone kind, dependable, and loyal. She worked as a high school English teacher, inspiring students with stories of courage and resilience from classic literature. Her life was simple but fulfilling. She had a small circle of close friends, loved hiking on weekends in the Barton Creek Greenbelt, and enjoyed volunteering at the local library. But beneath her calm, happy exterior, life had prepared trials she could never have imagined. Her first experience with betrayal came during her early 20s. Claire had been engaged to her college sweetheart Daniel, a young man she believed she would spend her life with. Daniel was charming, ambitious, and full of promises. But just months before their wedding, she discovered he had been unfaithful. She had found the truth not through gossip but through a moment of undeniable proof, a message on his phone that shattered her trust. That night, she sat alone in her apartment, tears streaming down her face, wondering how someone she trusted so deeply could deceive her so casually. Many people would have reacted with anger, revenge, or public confrontation. Claire felt those impulses too. But after a night of reflection, she made a different choice. The next morning, she met Daniel at a coffee shop in downtown Austin. She calmly placed the engagement ring on the table and said, "If you cannot honor this commitment now, there is no point in pretending. I wish you the best in life, but this is where our paths end." She walked out, her heart aching, but her head held high. Daniel tried to chase after her, apologizing, begging, and swearing he could change. But Claire knew that once trust was broken in that way, it was nearly impossible to restore. That decision was the first step in shaping her philosophy on betrayal. Never cling to people who shatter your trust. Walk away with dignity, no matter how much it hurts. Years later, Claire married a man named Michael Thompson, a software engineer from Dallas. Michael was steady, intelligent, and supportive. For several years, their marriage seemed strong. They bought a home in a quiet suburb, adopted a golden retriever named Max, and traveled to places Claire had always dreamed of seeing. Together, they built what appeared to be a beautiful life. But betrayal has a way of hiding in shadows until it emerges unexpectedly. Claire began to notice subtle changes. Michael worked late more often, seemed distant at home, and avoided conversations about the future. At first, she blamed the stress of his job, but over time, the signs grew too obvious to ignore. One evening, when Michael left his laptop open on the kitchen table, Claire discovered emails that revealed he had been having an emotional affair with a coworker. The shock left her breathless. She sat on the kitchen floor, Max by her side, as tears welled in her eyes. Memories of their wedding vows echoed in her mind, promises of loyalty and faithfulness that now felt like empty words. When Michael came home later that night, she confronted him. He admitted to the emotional betrayal, claiming it had just happened, though Claire knew such things never just happened, they were choices. Once again, Claire faced the decision of whether to fight for someone who had broken her trust or to walk away. It would have been easy to scream, to throw accusations, or to expose him publicly. But Claire chose differently. She asked him directly, "Can you truly promise to rebuild this trust, or are you already halfway out the door?" Michael remained silent. That silence was enough for Claire. Within weeks, she filed for divorce. Friends told her she was brave, but Claire didn't feel brave. She felt devastated. Yet she refused to let bitterness consume her. Instead of dwelling on revenge, she poured her energy into her career, her friendships, and her own personal growth. She began running marathons, joined a book club, and started mentoring young teachers. Every step she took reminded her that walking away with dignity was not about ignoring the pain, but about refusing to let betrayal define her. The years that followed brought healing, but betrayal tested Claire yet again, not in romance this time, but in friendship. She had a lifelong best friend named Jessica, someone she had known since childhood. They shared secrets, celebrated birthdays together, and stood by each other through every life event. But when Claire published her first collection of essays, deeply personal writings about resilience, Jessica reacted with envy instead of joy. At first, Claire didn't notice it. But gradually, Jessica began to make subtle remarks that undercut her success. At social gatherings, she hinted that Claire's stories were exaggerated or implied that her divorce had been her own fault. One evening, at a dinner with mutual friends, Jessica openly mocked Claire's book, saying it was just her way of playing the victim. The betrayal cut Claire deeply, not because of the words themselves, but because they came from someone she considered a sister in all but blood. That night, Claire lay awake replaying the moment. She wondered whether to confront Jessica, defend herself to their mutual friends, or distance herself quietly. After much reflection, she chose the latter. The next morning, she wrote Jessica a letter, not of anger but of clarity. She expressed gratitude for the years of friendship but explained that true friends uplift, not tear down. She ended the letter with, "I will always wish you the best, but I cannot allow myself to stay close to someone who betrays my trust." She sent the letter and never looked back. Each betrayal in Claire's life left scars, but those scars became reminders of her strength. Over time, she came to realize that betrayal is less about the actions of others and more about the lessons we take from them. She had learned that dignity is not found in clinging to relationships that crumble under dishonesty. It is found in the courage to walk away, even when your heart wants to stay. Claire eventually rebuilt her life in ways she never expected. She moved to Denver, Colorado, where she started teaching at a new school. She found peace in the mountains, hiking trails with Max, and writing essays that resonated with thousands of readers online. Her writing about betrayal, healing, and dignity began to inspire people across the country. Many readers reached out to her, sharing their own experiences of betrayal and thanking her for giving them the strength to walk away with their heads held high. Years later, when Claire looked back on her life, she no longer saw betrayal as the breaking point of her story. Instead, she saw it as the beginning of transformation. Each time someone betrayed her, she was forced to make a choice: allow it to destroy her or allow it to teach her. She chose the latter, and in doing so, she built a life rooted in self-respect and courage. Her story became a reminder to all who heard it that betrayal is inevitable in life. People will let us down,